Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of Did She Really Say That? Today, I'm so excited to be bringing you a very special guest who she specializes in psychotherapy and really focusing on that whole person and becoming that person that they want to become. So I'm super excited to introduce you to her. And in case we haven't met, my name is Karen Angeli. I'm one of the co-founders here inside Truth Bomb Marketing, where we're helping create more female millionaires in the world than ever before. So to dive right in, I just want to introduce you to my friend Anne, who she is going to take us on a journey. I feel like it's going to be a fun journey too. Like, I don't know, like this is good. This is exciting. So, Anne, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm very excited. You can probably hear it in my voice. Um, so I'm a psychotherapist. I live in Vancouver, Canada. Originally, I wanted to go into medicine, but I decided that I was much more interested in why people do what they do than their bodies. Now, I know there's a massive connection between our minds and our bodies. How we think, how we feel affects our health. And in turn, our health and whether or not we take care of ourselves affects our minds and our bodies. So I love what I do. I work with individuals and couples. And yeah, I think a lot more will come out during our interview.
Oh,
So
absolutely. A lot. So I know when we first started talking, you were telling me that you really liked focusing on that whole person, and it really came down to like your body. So I'd love for you to expand on that if you're okay with that.
absolutely, I'm okay with anything you'd like to know
Let's
more.
do it. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go for it.
So one of the areas that I really focus on is the subconscious, because our subconscious runs 90 to 95% of our lives. So really, really important for people to become aware of what's going on subconsciously or unconsciously for you. And one of the ways that we get in touch with that is what triggers us.
Mm-hmm.
So when are you very reactive? When do you get very emotional? When is your emotional reaction way out of line with the way it should be? So, for example, if you, let's say, ask your partner to pick up your dry cleaning and they forget, and you freak out and you start throwing things and you feel they don't care about you, you are not important, that likely is a message to your inner self saying, pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Something important is going on here. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe your parents never paid attention to you, or maybe they forgot to pick you up in school, or maybe your partner just always forgets. So that's another issue that needs to be dealt with. The other thing is to pay attention to what's going on in our bodies, because our bodies are always giving us messages, and our emotions are messages. So our emotions are not a guide to action. So if you're angry or upset, it doesn't tell you how to deal with it. What's important is to pay attention and ask yourself, what's the message here?
Oh,
So,
yeah, 100%. And I love that you talk about this because this is something that we really focus on inside of Truth Bomb is what is it that your body is telling you right now? What is it that either you're missing or maybe you need to put a little bit more time and energy on? And this can be one of the biggest reasons, in my opinion, that a lot of female entrepreneurs find themselves in this place of burnout and overwhelm that we talk about here at Truth Bomb all the time because they're not paying attention to themselves. So I love that you're an entrepreneur that's like, listen, I want to help people actually get focused back on themselves. Like that to me is like so key, so crucial for success. So yeah, so I'm curious, what got you started in this line of work? Like what inspired you to start helping people in this way? Like, give us a little history on what brought you to psychotherapy and then what kind of brought you to where you are right now with what you're doing.
so I've had a lot of experience with my own psychotherapy.
Mm,
And unfortunately, a lot of it wasn't very helpful. So I needed to find ways to help myself.
mm,
And what I've noticed is in our culture, we're very externally focused,
Ooh,
which is
yeah.
what you were just talking about. So if I make $1 million, if I get the car, if I get the house, if I get the partner, if I have the babies or not have the babies, or whatever our if is, or and when I get the house, the car, etc., we think that we will have made it and we'll be happy and everything will be great. And I work with people who have met, what's the word I'm looking for, who have hugely made it.
Yeah.
So multi-millionaires who are miserable.
Mm.
And so if we don't deal with what's going on inside, and I love the title Truth Bomb, because we have to ask ourselves, what's my truth that I'm ignoring?
Yeah.
What am I
Oh,
going
I
to
got chills when you said that. Woo! Yeah, 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 yeah. I love it.
I love your energy is so fantastic. That red hair goes all the way through you with passion.
I love it.
So it's really, really important to pay attention to what's going on for us. But the other thing about this culture is we live in a culture of distraction.
Oh, yeah.
So whether it's drugs or alcohol, sex, exercise, food, overeating or undereating, telephones, cell phones, video games, whatever it is, we look for ways to avoid facing our pain. And for me, a big piece of that is because people don't know how to deal with their pain.
Mm.
So if you don't know what to do with it, how can you face it?
Oh, you're so right. You're so right. That literally is like that cuts to the heart. So I'm curious, what are some of the things that you do to help people kind of face what it is that maybe they're avoiding? Because it's so easy, like you said, to just distract ourselves with a cell phone or a deadline or a vacation or whatever it is that we want to distract ourselves with. So, what are some of the tools that you use to help get people past that distraction of themselves?
So, as you know, one of the best tools is the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Mm-hmm. I know this so well, and I talk about this inside Truth Bomb all the time because I'm like, it's freaking awesome. It's changed my life.
Absolutely. So he offers a ton of tools.
Mm.
Um, I talk to my clients about meditating. It's so funny because one of the things people always say to me is, Anne, I meditated for 2 weeks and it's not working.
Oh
It's like
God.
people are meditating for 40 years and their minds still wander.
Yeah.
So if you're going to meditate, you have to go into it knowing, expecting your mind is always going to wander. The work is to bring your mind back to the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the other tools are, we talk about obviously what's going on for people, where their pain is, where they're having a difficult time, and also what unhealed traumas they have in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't spend months or years, as much time as we need to. We talk about what's unhealed. What was their relationship like with their parents? Because our subconscious is laid down from the ages of 0 to 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So we have to know what happened back then. What did people say to us?
Mm.
So if someone's parents said, you're lazy or you're stupid, you're never going to
Mm.
amount to anything, or if a teacher said that,
Yeah.
people carry it with them. They're not even aware that they're carrying it with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like the saddest thing is that we walk around as adults, but inside we have this little 5-year-old that's going, I want to get out. I want to be free, but they're
Yeah.
in this trapped pattern. So
Yes.
it keeps you stuck at a certain point. And that's one of the things like you brought up, Dr. Joe. That's one of the things that I realized that I needed to let that girl out. That little girl that was screaming for whatever she was screaming for. I needed to let her out and let her play.
Yes. I love that, especially the play aspect,
Yeah.
because life is heavy. I mean, it can be really
Mhm.
heavy, but
Yeah.
really, really important, especially in relationships and intimate relationships, to allow yourselves to play. And if you're not playing, I mean, the first 6 months to 2 years are so magical because people are playing. They're
Mhm.
on their best behavior. They're, presenting their best selves. And I'm not saying be phony and present your best self all the time.
Yeah.
Really important if you're in a relationship to be able to go deeper and be who you are and share who you are and what you want and need. But that play aspect is so important. And if we don't pay attention to and be aware of that 4 or 5-year-old, they're running the show.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
that's what I see a majority of the time. Like you see these adults walking around, but the 4 or 5 year old is running the show.
Yes.
And you brought up a really, I love that you said this because this is really what Truth Bomb is all about. We talk about creating that female millionaire with the fun, play, and ease. And you talk about the play. And we as founders knew, like we just knew because we had been building businesses on our own, doing our own thing for however long. And we realized, all three of us at one point realized we weren't having fun anymore. And so the moment for me when things changed is when I went, how can I have fun and be curious? Think about when you were at your most beautiful moments in your life. You were curious and you wanted to play with what the possibilities were.
Mhm.
That's when magic happens.
Yes, yes. And it's when magic happens. I'm talking about relationships again because I love
That's what you
relationships.
focus. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's part of my focus. And our lives are just relationships, truly.
Yeah.
Everything is a relationship. But we, at the beginning, we were curious about our partners. I want to know everything about you. And then after a while, it's like, okay, I know everything about you. No, you don't. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah, exactly. How would you?
It's not possible. And it's so important to respect ourselves and ask ourselves, what do I need?
Hmm,
What do I need right now? What's if you're burned out or burning out, or hopefully before you burn out,
hopefully, yeah.
women who are working full time, running a business, have kids, have a relationship, or don't have a relationship, you are working extra ultra hard.
Yeah.
And so we all have so many responsibilities. Pay attention. Pay attention to what your body's telling you. Pay attention to what your mind is telling you, because as Dr. Joe says, otherwise your body's going to let you know, and you don't want to get to that place.
Mm-hmm.
You don't,
100%.
you don't want to get to a place where your body has put you in a position that you have no choice but to just pay attention to your body. So
100%.
awareness is always the first step in change. So important to be aware of that. The other piece, if I could just add one more thing,
Mm-hmm.
is Michael Singer about 30 years ago. He wrote a book called The Untethered Soul. He
Yeah.
started to meditate, and he recognized he had this voice in his head that would never shut up. It was nonstop judging, criticizing. It had a comment about everything. And he calls it the crazy roommate, which I think is brilliant.
It is brilliant.
We all have a crazy roommate, and it runs our lives until we become aware of what it's saying to us and ask ourselves, is this true?
Yes. Oh my God. This is something that I have been saying for a while too. I love that you just brought this up. Whenever I listen to that, when I get present to that crazy roommate that you just referred to, I always get back to, wait a minute, is this actually true or is this something that my brain is making up? I always go, true or not true? Like, this is a game I play with myself. True or not true?
Good, excellent. Excellent. And another thing that you can do is you can write it out. If you write it
Ah,
on a piece of paper, you get it out of your head, you can actually take a look at it, hopefully be a little more objective about it.
mm,
But our minds are negatively biased for survival reasons.
yeah.
And it's so critical to recognize that, because otherwise we just get scared. We walk around in fear all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And that's what happens, I think. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is what happens with a lot of women in business. Like we get into this survival mode, we get into this survival trap with our money. With if we're building on social media, we get into a survival trap on social media. We get into a survival trap that we just continue to play over and over and over again. And we get stuck. And that's where, in my opinion, that's where that glass ceiling comes in, right? Like we get stuck because we're literally just playing this old program that's not serving us anymore.
yes. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that's brilliant. I think it's also because people are pretending to be something they're not.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. I'd
So,
love for you to go further into that.
well, there's that truth bomb again. So important for us to be true to who we are. Don't try to be don't try to be like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Don't try to be like anybody who's running a successful business. It's one of the dangers of social media,
Mm,
and it's one of the places that I think people really have to be aware of the crazy roommate because it comes up big time with respect to social media because there's so much comparison. And so the being true to ourselves or telling ourselves the truth is, what do I want? What's holding me back? Where am I not being me? Where is shame? Where is envy? Where is fear? And we can't get anywhere without getting out of our comfort zone. But let me assure you, you try to get out of your comfort zone, and that crazy roommate is going to go crazy.
Bananas, really, because it's going to be like, oh my God, this is new. I don't do this because of that survival that you were talking about.
Yes, the crazy roommate is like, no, you don't have to do this. Certainly not today, maybe next week.
Right. Maybe we'll be okay for it next week. Next week comes and the crazy roommate still is like, nope, not today, sister.
Exactly. Absolutely. When we step out of our comfort zones, it likely will feel like we are maybe not being ourselves, but really important to be true. This is scaring me. So this is something I haven't done before. What if it doesn't work? That's the whole fear. Can I cope with this? What if it doesn't work? What if I make a fool of myself? What if people don't like it? What if people laugh at me? So sometimes I ask people, when you're 90 years old, looking back on this, how will you feel about it? Will you wish you had done something differently? So
great question.
So someone wrote a book called 10-10-10. She said, when you're dealing with something, how will you feel about it in 10 minutes, 10 months, and 10 years? And perspective taking is so critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you bring this up because we get so focused on the problems or the challenges that we're faced with right now, but we forget to look at it in how am I going to feel about this in 10 minutes? How about 10 months? How about 10 years? It does put that perspective on things. And we go, wait a minute, does this really matter? Am I just getting stuck in a survival trap again? Can I just start noticing? And this is something that we teach inside our main course, Unlocking My Millions. Like, this is the first step of becoming a happy, successful female millionaire, is actually focusing on that self-awareness piece. And I love you've literally just like so many good points that it really is about becoming so present to the moment, so present to you and what's going on with you. And I love, 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 love this. So
can I add one more thing?
Yeah, please do.
So going along with we want the house, we want the car, it's the externals that we use to judge ourselves.
Yeah.
We also, when we're concerned about what other people think, more so than what we think or how we feel about something, we're looking at ourselves from the outside in. And not living our lives from the inside out. And so we always have that external perspective. The other thing is, who do we please? There will be people who love our ideas and people who don't. And so how do we choose? It's like an actor or an actress who does a play on Broadway. They get 300 positive reviews and one negative one. The crazy roommate pays attention to the negative one, of course.
Of course, because you're in survival mode.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I friggin' love that you said that. Everything you're saying, I'm like, oh, yes, 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 yes. I hope that everybody that's listening is getting so much from this because there is so many good nuggets here. So I want to ask you next, what is one of the biggest lessons that you've learned as you've been going through because not only are you a psychotherapist, you're an entrepreneur as well. So what's been one of the biggest lessons that you've learned as you've been growing?
So it's hard for me to come up with the biggest lesson because everything I've been talking about has been lessons.
Huge. Exactly. Yeah. Like literally everything we've just said is like the biggest lesson. So I get it.
And those have been my lessons. So it's like, oh, maybe I could deal with this differently or look at this differently or wake up. So I think maybe one of the biggest things, certainly one of the first things is awareness. Just be aware. And the second thing is have compassion for yourself.
Oh, yeah. How easy, especially for women, because I feel like this is a programmed behavior for women, that we literally look at ourselves in the mirror and we go, ew, my nose is huge. My pores are ridiculous. Like we literally just pick ourselves apart. There's zero compassion,
Yes.
none.
Yes. Absolutely. We have so much compassion often for other people, and we really need to point that love arrow inwards
Yeah.
and really open our hearts to ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, it also, when we start to have self-compassion, it's another area of growth because then we can deal with our own issues differently. We look
Mm,
at ourselves differently instead of through everyone else's eyes, start to look at ourselves through our own eyes
hmm
and
Yeah.
decide. And the other thing is to what's my vision? What's so to people who are listening to this, what's your vision for your life? And how can you stay true to that no matter what anybody else is saying?
So good. So many good truth bombs here. So many good truth bombs. So I'm curious though, what are some of the activities that you might have somebody do? Because you probably have homework that you give to people. So what are
Yes.
some activities that you would give to somebody that is displaying not showing compassion to themselves, that they're not actually loving themselves? What are some activities you might give to someone?
So the first thing would be to start writing down when they're feeling bad about themselves or upset
Mm.
with themselves, to sit with themselves and say, what am I thinking? And also, where am I feeling this in my body?
Mm.
The amazing thing is, the more we can allow ourselves to identify where we feel it in our bodies and just allow ourselves to feel the feelings, what we resist persists and gets stronger. So when we have a feeling and we resist it, we're just doing this. So it just
Yeah.
gets bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
And so I work with people to become aware of what is it you're feeling, where is it in your body, breathe into that space and and, and just allow yourself to feel it. So the only feelings that last are the ones that we resist.
Ha, I love that. I love that. It's
So
so true.
it's impossible to cry forever.
Mm,
Somebody might be sad for months and months and months, especially if they've lost someone who's really important to them, or something else has happened that's caused them a lot of pain. But eventually, we find a way to heal if we stay in touch with our bodies and
mhm,
our minds and are really working through our truth about what's going on in the moment. So
yeah.
the otother thing is I do EFT or tapping with my clients.
Ah, I was
So,
wondering. Okay, okay. I love that you're bringing this up. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Let's talk about
so
that.
well, I've known about it since 2002, and I thought, oh my God, this is ridiculous. That's not going to do anything. And then I kept hearing about it. And you know what they say? If you keep hearing about something, the universe is kicking you, pay attention.
Hello. Listen, Linda. Yeah, exactly. Yep,
So,
yep.
well, the universe doesn't kick us, but the universe can get pretty loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I said, I said the universe might be kicking you. It doesn't kick us, but it can get pretty loud. So then I thought I wanted to find talk therapy is great, but I wanted to help my clients find another way in to deal with their emotions.
hmm
And often, the more we tell ourselves something over and over and over again, the stronger that neural network becomes in our brain. So, if women keep saying to themselves that they're not beautiful or they're ugly or they're a failure, that just keeps getting stronger and stronger. So, I'm certified level 3. It's not something I got off YouTube or out of a book. And
You know what you're doing. This lady knows what she's doing.
I hope so, as much as possible.
Yes,
I'm not perfect.
exactly.
I'll be the first to say I'm not perfect, but I have been doing it since 2008. And it's amazing to me how it can help people really heal, and really quiet those negative emotions, or resolve, not even quiet, resolve really negative emotions. And what often happens is it's like peeling the layers off an onion. So you
Yeah.
start off with something like anger, and beneath it is hurt or sadness.
Mm, yeah,
So
you're right. Like when you start to notice, I know for this is for myself, and it probably will resonate with a lot of people. When I start to notice that I'm getting angry or frustrated at certain things, when I start to like notice that anger or frustration and I start to peel it back further and further, I start to realize that that anger came as a result of me feeling helpless over and over and over again, or whatever feeling you want to put in there. Really, it doesn't matter. It's just what program are you not paying attention to? And as a result of not paying attention to it, it's now become this overwhelming anger that you literally just want to scream at people when you see them because you haven't dealt with that emotion. And I love that you bring up tapping, and I'm curious if you can teach us. I know on a podcast it's hard to see what she's doing, but this is also on YouTube as well. So if you want to teach us a little bit of tapping, maybe tell us like some places that you can tap.
Sure.
Let's talk about maybe let's talk about abundance, or maybe let's do your favorite tapping sequence and what you would use it for. Let's do that instead. How's that?
I don't necessarily have a favorite. I
Okay.
was thinking about self-compassion, but abundance is another great one.
Whatever you want to do, you lead the way.
So what's really important is to ask yourself, how do I feel about me getting abundant?
Mm.
Do I believe that it's possible for me to get abundant? And so if someone's attitude is, I believe getting abundant is impossible for me.
Mm.
So if they have that belief, it's impossible for me. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to be a millionaire entrepreneur. So what we would do is we would start off on the side of the hand, and I might ask them where they feel it in their body as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we would start off on the side of the hand. Should we run through this?
Yeah, please. Let's do it. Yeah. I'm going to do it with her. Okay. So guys, if you're listening, hold up one of your hands. Okay. And you're literally on the side of your hand. Well, I'll let you explain it. You talk about it.
No, you're doing great, actually. So it's the side of the hand below the baby finger and above the wrist on the fleshy part.
Perfect.
And we just tap here. Now, if somebody, and it doesn't matter which hand, it could be either hand, you can do this, you can do this. It's a very forgiving procedure. So I don't remember what I was going to say, so let's just go forward with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I have a really negative belief. I'm never going to be rich. So let's tap here. And what we say is, and I get my clients to repeat after me, even though I don't believe I'm ever going to be rich. So you'll repeat it after me.
Even though I don't believe I'm ever going to be rich.
I deeply and completely accept myself anyway.
Accept myself anyway. And I got massive chills, guys, as I'm doing this. So I hope you're doing this along with us too, because this is huge, huge, huge. I love that.
So then we do it 2 more times. So we'll keep doing that. I'm just putting my hands down just to give them a rest. So let's do it 2 more times, even though I don't believe I'm ever going to be rich.
I don't believe I'm ever going to be rich.
It's too hard.
It's too hard.
Other people get rich.
Other people get rich.
But not me.
But not me.
I don't see myself ever being rich.
I don't see myself ever being rich.
I deeply and powerfully accept who I am.
And
how I feel. And so sometimes I do it twice, sometimes 3 times. If a client is really in strong emotion, I don't even do that. We just go right into the tapping. So shall we do a little tapping?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it.
Okay. So there's an underarm spot as well, and we can do that. So we'll start off with the inner eyebrows.
Yep. Okay, guys. So really explain this for our people that are listening. So inner eyebrows.
And then the next spot is outside of the eyes, in the corner of the eye, not the temple. So it's on the bone, not the temple.
Okay, gotcha. Right at the corner of the eye on the bone. I got you.
And then under the eyes on the bone.
And then under the eyes on the bone. This one I've done a lot.
And under the nose.
Under the nose. Yep. Right on that bone there.
Cleft of the chin where it goes in.
Okay.
Collarbone. So what you want to do is, the V where a man knots his tie?
Yeah. Right there.
So there are 2 notches that go up from the collarbone. Take 2 fists and just tap under those notches.
2 fists. Oh, I've never done that. I normally just use my fingertips. That's interesting. Okay.
You can do fingertips as well. It's a really forgiving process.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then the next spot is under the arm.
Okay, so let's explain this one a little bit. So is there a specific spot under the arm?
Just do it right under your arm. What some people do is they do it on the bottom of the bra. So you can tap on the same side, you can cross your arms over and tap at the bottom of the bra, whichever
Okay,
works best for you, whichever you like best.
I
But
see.
actually on the underarm or under the arm. So, like I
Okay.
said, it's a forgiving process. We have meridians all over our body, so you're going to be tapping on something. So,
You'll figure something out. Just start tapping on yourself and see what happens.
and the last spot is the top of the head.
Hmm.
So, some people use one hand, I use two hands. Again, it's a forgiving process. Some people with kids, they use teddy bears. They don't even do it on their kid.
Ah,
So
ah.
let's go back to the inner eyebrows. And
Okay.
again, I will repeat things. What I
hmm
say to my clients is if I say something that doesn't resonate for you, please let me know.
hmm
Otherwise, we just keep going. So I'm never going to be rich.
I'm never going to be rich.
That'll never happen for me.
That'll never happen for me.
Other people can get rich.
Other people can get rich.
It's too scary for me.
It's too scary for me.
I'll have to work too hard.
I'll have to work too hard.
I don't see it ever happening.
I don't see it ever happening.
And I won't keep the money anyway if it happens.
And I won't keep the money anyway if it happens.
I don't trust myself.
I don't trust myself.
I'm just and whatever it is that you do, put that in there. So I'm just a psychotherapist. I'm just a store owner, whatever it is.
I'm just a healthcare provider.
How could I possibly get rich with that?
How could I possibly get rich with that?
It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
I'm never going to be rich.
I'm never going to be rich.
I'm always going to struggle.
I'm always going to struggle.
Money is always going to elude me.
Money is always going to elude me.
It's too hard.
It's too hard.
Why should I even bother?
Why should I even bother?
And then take a deep breath in. And when you're ready, release it. I had some clients who weren't releasing until I said to release it. So they were,
Let it go. Please don't turn purple. So, guys, like we just did that on a podcast, but if you want to see the whole process of Anne going through that with me so that you can do it along with us, watch us on YouTube because we'll have this as a video as well. So, that was so powerful. Thank you for going through that with me.
oh, you're welcome. Obviously, with someone who's struggling with that issue, I would ask them lots of questions to find out what it is exactly about being rich that's an issue for them or that they don't believe it's possible for them. I would incorporate that into the tapping. I was just doing something, a prototype here. So
Sure. Yeah, I love that. And it's a great place to start. So ask yourself too, when you're going through this sequence, like all of our listeners, when you're going through this sequence, ask yourself, what is the thought that you do keep getting stuck with? Because
yes.
Anne gave us, like she said, a prototype of what you might be thinking. But if there's something else that you're thinking that's keeping you stuck, put that in there for yourself and go through that same sequence that Anne just did with us. Oh,
Yes.
I freaking love that.
Great idea. That's a great idea. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this was so good. And this was literally like jam-packed with so much value. So I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing with our listeners a little bit about what you do. So I want to invite people that were like, wow, that was really good. I want to know, where can I find Anne online? How can I connect with her? So let us know where we can find you and if you have any freebies that you want to share with us.
so social media. Sorry, I'm just I'm not huge on social media. A lot of people are working to encourage me to get on Instagram and have an Instagram page, especially as the therapist. I am on Instagram. I think I have 2 posts on Instagram. So
Okay.
your best bet right now is my website.
Perfect.
It's coachinginanutshell.com. And
And we'll
it
have that in the show notes too. So it's coachinginanutshell.com. Okay. So
thank you. That's awesome. As far as freebies go, right now, I don't have, it says on my website that I did a manifesting talk or webinar years ago. I don't know if it's still working. It's an old website. I really have to update it. So you are encouraging me through this
Ha
podcast to do
ha
it.
ha. Yes. Yes.
I love what I do, so I tend to focus on what I do and let all the other stuff go. So, this has been so much fun. This has been amazing. Just to let people know, I do a free 20 to 30-minute consultation. If anybody wants to talk to me, I would be happy to talk to them. I run some groups as well. If anybody wants to get a group of people together, that would be something great. This has been so much fun. Thank you. And
Yeah.
I I just need to share with you. This is my very first podcast interview.
We just got you right through that ceiling and we were like, hey, let's do this. I love it. I'm so
So
glad you got to come on and hang out with us then.
thank you. So just to let people know, this was definitely out of my comfort zone somewhat. I've done my own interviews before, but being the interviewee is something I haven't done. So
I'm so glad that I got to do it for the first time with you. So glad to be a
okay.
part of it. So guys, if you're listening on your favorite podcast forum, go ahead and give us a 5-star. We would love to hear a little bit more about maybe what some of your comments or questions are for us or for Anne. And if you're watching us on YouTube, do the same thing. Get some comments and questions about what we just did, what's going on for you. And go ahead and tap that like button and subscribe because we'd love to create more content just for you. So with that, I think we are going to call today's episode of Did She Really Say That? A wrap for today. So can't wait to hang out with everyone next time.